I'm John with Trxstle. Today we're going to be showing how to mount the CRC System fly rod carrier, and we're going to be using the standard mounts that come with the carrier. You may also have extra large mounts or T-slot mounts depending on the roof rack configuration that you have. We're going to be using the standard clamp kit today. If you do have the extra large clamp, they work the exact same way. They're just for larger crossbars. If you have the T-slot mounts, we'll cover those in another video. And we're going to be mounting today on a Chevy Suburban. So the first thing you want to do is start by removing the security thumb screws. These thumb screws just twist off. You'll have 3 of them with the carrier pre-installed. And these are just here for when you have the carrier all the way open. It prevents someone from pushing a button and accidentally collapsing the unit. So there's 2 in this location. And there's 1 more on the nose section. So once you have those removed, you can move on to opening the unit. You'll start with button 1, which is here on the nose piece. You press this button and pull the plastic section. Continue pulling until it clicks into place. You'll also see the stop label indicating you're done with that extension. The next button is here. We call this button 3. You press this button and begin pulling again until it clicks into place. And last, you'll press button 4. You'll need to press this one twice. Once to get to that slot, and then once more to begin extending all the way open. So this is the 10'4" model. So once you're here, we're going to start by replacing the security thumb screws back on the spring buttons. And repeat that process for all 3 buttons that are showing. Once again, these are just a security function. So if you push the button, you can't collapse it. Okay, so with the security thumb screws installed on top of your 3 buttons, you're ready to install the CRC system on your roof rack. So the first thing you want to do before you mount the rod carrier on top of your vehicle is just double check your mount fit. You should have already used our mount size picker. If you haven't, that's available on the website on the product page, just to make sure you have the right mount for the right crossbar. So the first thing to do is check the fit. So using the standard mounts that I have here, I'm checking to see if I have the right length bolt for my application, as well as checking to see what kind of clamping force I'm getting on the bar. So you can see on this is a little bit loose on these thin factory bars on the Suburban. This is a common situation with any factory bar on most vehicles. The other thing I'm looking for is how long of a bolt that I have and if it's going to touch the roof of the vehicle. So I'll hold this in place and I'll check of the 3 bolts that come with the CRC system, which size I'll need. I've already done that, and I know that it's going to be this shorter 50mm bolt. Can tell by just holding it here and eyeballing it, and I can see that that's going to be a way better fit. Next, I need to take care of this slop. I just used the included spacer pad. I'll be applying the adhesive side onto the mount. And now I'll get the clamp force that I need when it's time to tighten this down. So let's go ahead and apply these pads and replace this bolt. Inside your mount box, you'll have 2 sets of clamps installed with 80mm bolts and our security nuts. You'll also have spacer pad, supplied Allen key, a security wrench that allows you to use our locking security nut, and you have 3 other size bolts. You have 100mm, 50mm, and 65mm. All right, so we're going to start by replacing this bolt with the shorter 50mm bolts. We use our security wrench on the security nut, begin loosening this, and take the nut off. So remove the security nut, remove the pivot piece, then you can use the supplied Allen wrench and remove this bolt and replace it with the shorter 50mm. There is Loctite on this bolt, so the beginning turns may be a little harder, but once you get it free, it should go pretty quick. Okay, so with the bolt removed, you can see there was some thread locker on here. I'm going to set that aside, get my 50mm bolt. We recommend putting some form of thread lock. This is a ThreadMate VC3 removable or reusable. You can apply a small amount just at the top of the threads to help hold it in place in the barrel nut. So thread your shorter bolt into the barrel nut on the inside of the mount. You want to make sure that you seat the bolt all the way against the barrel nut tight. So from here, we'll put our pivot piece back on, with the flat side facing down, and you can add the optional lock washer. Because we have these new Nylock security nuts, these are not necessary, but it's a nice peace of mind. So we just start this nut so we can still swing the pivot piece out of position. And repeat that process on your other clamp. All right, so now that we've got the mounts ready to go, the new bolts installed, we're ready to put the CRC system on the roof. The easiest way to mount this and make sure everything's aligned is to just set it without the mounts on your crossbars and check all your mounting slots and ensure that you've got the track and not the opening on top of both bars that you plan to mount to. You'll also want to be checking clearance on your hatch or your tailgate for the reel housing. So you want to be checking clearance of the back of your reel housing to whatever hatch or tailgate that you have. I've already adjusted these crossbars to the spacing that I like, so we're ready to go ahead and start mounting the carrier. Mounts rock up to assist in the lead-in when you're feeding them into the CRC system. So you rock this up, slide it in, and just let it sit right there loosely. And do the same thing on the back. So from here, we're going to tip the carrier over and line up our mounts. So now we'll install the optional spacer pad since these crossbars are factory and very thin. We'll peel the sticky back. The adhesive side goes against the CRC mounts, not against the crossbar. Slide that in, line it up, and the weight of the carrier will make sure that the adhesive sticks to the mount. From here, we swing the pivot piece out of the way, the mount around, and back into connection here. And now we take our custom security tool, security wrench tool, and begin tightening down the nut. We just want to snug it up loosely so it can still move in case we have final adjustments. So from here, we'll repeat this process on the rear. Okay, so now we've got each mount loosely clamped down, and it's helpful now to take a step back and make sure the carrier's sitting parallel to your ride and looks the way you want. It's in the exact position we want. We'll come back up and we'll do the final cranks on the nuts to secure it to the vehicle. So because our mounts have rubber on the top as well as rubber all around where they touch the crossbar, you don't need to over torque these nuts. Just get them snug. Make sure that your carrier is not moving and it's not moving on the crossbar. Now we've got the carrier mounted, we have the security wrench and it stores inside the locking reel housing. Okay, so now that our mounts are secure, the nuts are tightened down, the carrier's not moving, we're ready to go fish.